What's up, guys? Welcome back to the next episode of the Stoppage Time Stooges. We are going to be breaking down Matchday 6 in the UEFA Champions League. A lot of drama in a couple groups. Others were more straightforward. But we are pleased to be having this episode for our 12th. But before we get started, guys, how we doing?
Fine.
Oh, we're happy. He's fine. I am ecstatic. We're not gonna. No, I'll just get this out of the way now. Today, Brighton advanced in the Europa League because of my guy João Pedro. What a beauty! 1-0 against Marseille. 40 million. Absolutely. And guess what? Guess what, Jacob? He's a striker.
Who scores goals, by the way?
Oh yeah. Oh, and also they have. Don't forget about Evan Ferguson too, who's on the come up. So striker depth. I think we're okay at Brighton. But anyways, I think it's enough of that. We'll let Jacob. He's very angry, but he's gonna have to hold it in until.
Yeah, he's gonna have to hold until the end of the episode to let that anger out.
Yeah.
But let's get right into this. Let's not waste any time here. We have the group of depth. A lot of craziness match day 6. At one point, it seemed like Newcastle was going to go through. Milan eventually took the lead and won that match. And they were praying for a Dortmund win, didn't get one. And the big PSG, the biggest club in France at the moment, found a way. Weren't particularly great in this group throughout the 6 matches, but Dortmund top, PSG second, and Milan gets Europa League football with Newcastle dropping all out of Europe. I know Ricardo was very, very displeased to say in the group chat. I'll kick it right to you. What did you think of match day 6?
Well, I said this in the chat, and I was like, listen, I'm not a Newcastle fan, but like if I were a fan, I would be absolutely devastated with how the last 2 match days, and I guess really the whole season, really, with all the injuries that have kind of piled up. And I mean, that was kind of a big factor in, Eddie Howe only had 3 subs come on in this last game against in his last games against Milan. And I mean, he literally didn't have any attacking options, really. Had to rely on like Longstaff. I mean, Dan Burn came in for Trippier. Like, he just didn't have anyone healthy and ready to come off the bench. And I would imagine if any of their attackers who were, if they had been healthy, that they would have made a much bigger impact on the outcome of this game. And I mean, I just kind of go back to the PSG game in match day 5 and that absolute BS penalty that was given to them. Controversial handball, but I mean, UEFA rules, whatever. I mean, according to them, it's a handball, but it literally just wasn't. Like, there's nothing the defender could have done there. But you know what? It's just that on top of the injuries and kind of the inexperience of European football, it just kind of added up to ultimately them being out of Europe altogether. So I mean, and I hate PSG personally, so that's just another thing that kind of annoys me. But whatever. I mean, it just I hate it. The Newcastle deserve better, is my point.
Yeah, Jacob, I think you had Newcastle coming out of the group when we talked in September. What did you think of how it unfolded for them?
I did have Newcastle coming out of the group. That was one of my bold predictions. It was them making it through. No Dortmund, who obviously I was wrong about because they made it through.
Well, I think we all were, actually.
Yeah, we all were wrong, so don't worry about that.
No AC Milan, which I was right about, but I was no retirement. So yeah, but anyway, Newcastle. I think they were just. It just seemed like they were so close to. It almost seemed like they were right there in every game, but they couldn't put the nail in the coffin, so to speak. And it's unfortunate for a team that hasn't been in the Champions League in God knows how long, and having European football for the first time in a while, I think is definitely something that they were definitely not accustomed to. I would have liked to see them in a group where I think they had a more fair shot. but it's not how it works. It just, it's the luck of the draw or lack thereof. And they did not get so lucky. But I thought that they play with a lot. They played, and what they usually do is they play with a lot of heart, and they did that in this game. And obviously, AC Milan came out on top. But I just think, obviously, if you're a Newcastle fan, you're gutted. But we keep talking about their injuries, but I mean, they did have Isak come on. I guess he wasn't starting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he played off the left once he came on because they had Callum Wilson get back in
So what
time.
did they do with Gordon?
Did Gordon come off?
Yeah,
he might have came off.
Isak came on for Gordon.
They took Gordon out of the game?
Yeah.
I mean, he's played a lot of first-team football for a guy
I know, but
hasn't
he's
been
been
at
hot
that
lately.
level.
He's been hot lately. I mean, why would you?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
fair.
I like Almiron, but I don't really understand that one. But yeah, I mean, Newcastle. You're obviously, if you're a fan, you're gutted. You wanted something more, and you didn't. And the fact they're not even getting to the Europa League, I think, is what makes it even more disappointing. Especially because that was on the table, and they were not able to do that. Would they have gotten to the Europa League if they had a draw in that game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it even worse considering that the draw was on the table as well. But again, I think that they still play with a lot of heart. I think the fact that they gave their fans that win against PSG on their home pitch is something that they'll remember. So they do have that. But obviously, if you're a Newcastle fan, again, you don't care about that at this point because you wanted to make it out of the group or at least make it to the Europa League, and you didn't do that. So obviously, I guess it's a failure. But I don't want to be too hard on them because I thought that they did all right considering the circumstances. I mean, we look at Man United. We can talk about them, and we will. I mean, all they had to do is play decent defense, and they probably would make it out of the group. I mean, that's literally all they had to do. If they had some level of decent defending, they probably would have made it out of this group. They gave up 15 goals.
Yeah. We'll get to them later.
Right. Chelsea in like 04-05, I read, or something stat I read was like Chelsea in like 04-05 gave up 15 goals in the Premier League the entire season. And they gave up
the numbers for United's Champions League campaign are as bad as you can possibly come up with.
Yeah, and Jacob alluded to it, but I was going to bring up, Newcastle and Man U both finished fourth in their groups, but I've completely different opinions.
Great point.
Based on how they played this Champions League season. Newcastle, I feel gutted, but it's not a failure. I don't call it a failure. They haven't been in this level of football, so they have 5 points in that group of death. I'd say, you know what? It's actually impressive for them with a lot of youngsters who haven't played Champions League ball. So it's not a failure. They'll be back at some point, especially with their backing. They're not out of Champions League football forever. So I'm not worried about Newcastle. But let's give some roses to Dortmund. I mean, how they only lost one match, and that was their first match. They've been the most surprising team this Champions League for me. I mean, for considerable less talent compared to recent years in Dortmund, and I mean to come out of this group at the top, the likes of PSG, and I know it's a different PSG side as well and a different Milan, but that's impressive. And so do I expect Dortmund to get to a quarterfinal or, a semi? I mean, I would still pick against them probably, but claps for them. I mean, this is impressive for Dortmund. So, yeah.
And it's great going off of that. It's remarkable how far they've come after in May. They costed themselves a league title by losing a match against a mid-table side, I believe, in the Bundesliga at home, and then lost Jude Bellingham, maybe the best player they've produced, and I mean, besides Erling Haaland. I mean, lately, it's crazy how far this team's come, and again, they're not in a title race in the league. It's between Leverkusen and Bayern at the moment, but I mean, yeah, this is remarkable. What I will say too is we are going to continue to look back at this, and we talked about this back in, I think, September. Milan not taking their chances in match day 1 against Newcastle is going to continue to haunt them because they played some good matches in this, setup. They beat PSG at home in a must-win scenario. They had a couple other good results. This is their first win in England in the Champions League since 2005. They have had so many issues playing against Premier League sides in this competition, and they got to win. And yeah, I think Milan's going to be the most disappointed of the 4 teams. Obviously, Newcastle, of course, but they put up a remarkable fight in 6 matches. And as Ricardo mentioned at the top, they were robbed at PSG. Simple as that. I think they should have taken more points out of that match, and if they took more points, they would have eventually. I mean, maybe they would have taken this game differently against Milan. I mean, of course they would. It would have been a much different scenario. But yeah, as Andrew mentioned, I think Newcastle will be back. I don't know about next season because they got a pretty large gap to make up. And frankly, the top 5-6 teams in the Premier League right now are very difficult to catch. But I as you said, I think with the money invested into this team, into this club, Newcastle will be back as early as probably the following season, especially in the new Champions League format. But let's touch on another group that had a
real quick. That new format will benefit a club like Newcastle.
Yes.
What is the new format?
If they're going to like a league format, where instead of groups, you'll just play teams in your league, and the top 8 advance to the round of 16, and then
I think it's 9 through 24 is in a playoff.
Two-leg playoff to get to the round of 16.
Yeah.
So that will benefit a club like Newcastle, and Milan as well. Just avoid those groups of death. But yeah.
And I was reading about it too. 25 through I think 36 are eliminated from all European football. So there's no going to the Europa League. It probably is the same. I'd have to read up on it, but I would assume it's very similar with Europa League to Conference League. So there's no benefit of finishing, in that bottom tier of teams in this new format, which I don't know how we're going to feel about it. I think we'll get used to it, but it's weird to not have this format that we're currently in. Because that's really all what we're used to at this point. But that's for another day. We'll definitely get that more in depth on that in the future. But let's touch on another group that had some drama on Wednesday. It was the group with Barcelona, Shakhtar, Antwerp, and Porto. Shakhtar needed a win in Porto to advance, and if they had gotten the result with Barcelona losing, they would have actually topped the group, which would have been an incredible result. But in both of their matches against Porto, too many goals given away. Porto got the result they needed, and one of the more consistent teams in Portugal goes to the knockout stages. Guys, what do we think of that one?
Goal fest.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. Galeno, who's been one of the best players for Porto in the Champions League. I mean, just feel like at least once a game he's contributing in some capacity. So he's been a pretty good player for them, and I wouldn't take them lightly either because I mean they're at home especially. I mean they're pretty good side with that crowd behind them too. It's not an easy place to play, and I'm kind of surprised that this game, this 5-3 result ended the way it did, just because I don't know. I just didn't expect as many goals, but it's just crazy to me that Porto could have finished first if they had at least taken a point from Barcelona in one of those games. But of course, they lost to them both times. But I mean, that's just how it shook out. So Barca, on the other hand, I mean. I don't know. We'll probably touch on them a little bit, but I just want to say that the fact they lost to Royal Antwerp is an absolute joke. And I said this in the chat, and I was wrong. I didn't realize that Sergio Roberto's red card had gotten rescinded. So the fact that they were playing with 11 men and still lost that game like that's even more embarrassing. Like, oh my goodness, like I just they're frauds. They're just bad, man. Like,
Xavi, hot seat.
There it is. I knew
Yeah,
it was
thank you,
coming.
Andrew.
Knew it was
I-
coming. Knew it was coming.
There's just been
It's
talk.
probably fair.
There's been talk.
yeah, I think he's fine for now. If
He's
it
fine for
ended,
now,
like,
but there's definitely. I mean, if they get knocked out of the round of 16 and they continue to fall down the table in Spain, it's possible. I mean, they
listen,
lost over the
Yeah.
weekend. It was Girona went to Barca and beat them. Correct.
Yeah, that was great. That I love every minute.
Girona
of
have been fantastic, but that's still a game. You
Real
should
beat Girona. Not an excuse.
that. Exactly.
It's totally
So,
fair.
And add their place too. So I don't
Yep.
want to hear these.
Don't want to hear it. No. Xavi crying.
Frauds, trash.
They just find the player to blame.
No, I'm sorry. I need to say this.
Wow, Rafinha! Wow!
I need to say this though. Like him playing defenders out of position, like across the line, is what like it makes absolutely no sense. Why are you playing a center back at left back, a
You see
center back
why-
at right back, center? It makes no sense. You can't interchange them. It's not how that works. You idiot.
It's probably because he sees Pep play Nathan Ake at left back. And he goes, "Oh, what would my idol do?
Ah.
He makes it work."
He read the book.
Oh my god. It's
He's
so
like, my master never used real left backs to play that position.
No, we let them all go.
Oh my god.
No, he lost all faith, just like he typically does.
Yeah. Ugh.
Anyways, yeah. Embarrassment. We're bummed out that Shakhtar couldn't advance.
Yes.
I was heavily pulling for them, especially if the story, them playing in Germany, the
Yeah.
supporters they're getting in
Yeah.
Germany too. I was bummed out, but hey, Porto deserved it. I mean, they came through. They came through with the goals against Shakhtar. So I mean,
I didn't know that. I didn't know
you
they
can't
had
say.
Pepe, and I didn't know he was still playing either.
Pepe is the oldest player to score in the Champions League now.
Yep. Isn't that
Which
his
is
second goal he scored?
incredible.
Yeah.
Because I know he scored
Yesterday.
earlier.
He scored another goal in this wave of games. I don't know who it was against, but I mean, yeah, how he's doing this at I think 40 now is remarkable. I
Poor
mean,
man's Thiago Silva.
maybe one of the few players Jacob's not upset with at the moment.
No, Jacob loves Thiago Silva. We know this. He never has a problem with him.
Well, he's
Other than
no,
the goal-
he's made,
other than
he's
the
made
goal he gave
mistakes.
against Newcastle.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, you can't excuse him for
He was a little
mistakes.
critical of it.
Jacob
not
always finds an
perfect.
excuse. For Thiago Silva, yes. You love Thiago
stop.
Silva.
I didn't excuse him for that goal against Newcastle,
No, he didn't.
Good, yeah, you didn't. So
Don't
but
believe
he's the least of Chelsea's problems.
Oh. See?
Am I wrong? Tell me where I'm wrong.
It's an excuse.
It's not an excuse; it's a fact.
Ah. Anyways.
Anything else in this group before we move on?
Thanks for coming, Antwerp. Thanks for beating.
I'm sorry.
Thanks
Also,
for
that was their only
participation.
win in the entire Champions
The
League.
only points came from beating Barca.
I love how you two are just. I love the praying of Barcelona's downfall.
Oh.
Oh, have
it's-
to always.
F
I-
Barca.
I don't hate any team more than them in any sport. This is the team I hate the most.
It's fair. By the way, before we move on, Antwerp had a minus 11 goal difference in 6 games. The only other team to have 10 or more was Celtic. So, not good defensively.
This team beat Barca.
And they beat Barca.
And it wasn't like It wasn't like they pulled out like all of their like. They did try and win the game. I mean, their front three was low.
They
It wasn't
played
like
a
it was
fair
like
amount of
City.
food.
It wasn't like Man City against Belgrade, who basically put their whole like freaking under
Academy.
21 team out there. Yeah,
Little
and won.
Meeks.
We'll touch on
Although
Little
Calvin
Meeks.
Phillips is still alive.
Can't confirm. But let's move on to one more group before we whip around. Group A, of course.
I'm sorry, Christian. I just want to say real quick, Calvin Phillips. I saw a funny quote from Jose Mourinho. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Oh,
story.
yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The 80 million. Yeah. Guys, find that quote.
That's funny. That's
That's a great quote.
You don't. Yeah, I can't.
Classic Jose Mourinho. Basically, like,
yeah.
you know, if you're spending 80
Excuse Magoo.
not
Excuse me.
play a player that you spent 80 million for. What a disgrace. What a joke. Anyway,
It's because he wants Calvin Phillips,
oh, and fair.
but
Yeah,
he's
maybe
he
he'll
knows
get him on loan.
Pep would never give him to him.
You know. Anyways, Group A. Let's talk
Yes,
about
Group
this monstrosity.
You know, there was expected to be some drama here. There wasn't very much. You know, United needed help. I mean, we talked in the group chat. A couple of us gave our levels of confidence. I think I was at 15% from them to get through. Ricardo, you were at 1%, I think.
Yeah, I did say one. I
think
said
it was
that like
one.
half
You know what?
jokingly.
You were right.
Yeah, I'm like, let's be real. Like, this team is just atrocious. It's like, what makes you think, especially with Bayern playing all their, like, you know, their starters, what makes you think that they're gonna defend the fortress? What makes you think they're gonna pull out any sort of result against them? Like, especially after Bayern got beat by, what was it, Frankfurt this past weekend, or like 5-1? There was some thrashing. It was bad, yeah. So, like, add that in, it was just like, nah, there's no way Man U comes away with anything, and of course they didn't. Just terrible again.
Right, and they also needed help. Didn't get it either. Copenhagen gets the result against Galatasaray, who a few of us had going through. Nobody had Copenhagen. But to be fair, they were very, very tough to play at home. They got 2 wins against Manchester United and Galatasaray, and they go through, which is great for them in Danish football, because you know we don't really see Danish clubs get to the round of 16 often. I don't know how many times it's happened in this iteration of the Champions League, but credit to them. Gala was wasteful in a lot of their games. I go and look back at Matchday 1 as maybe their biggest disappointment, because they were playing against Copenhagen, who had, I think, 1 red card, maybe 2, and only were able to get a draw. So credit to Copenhagen, because nobody had them going through, and we'll see what they can do in the knockout stages. But I'm sure they'll be heavy underdogs once again.
Yeah. And I know we like to make fun of Man U. I'm shocked it was only 1-0. And the one coming from Kingsley Coman, who hasn't scored a goal in like what was it, a year and a half for in club play. So you know, it was closer than I thought. I thought it was gonna, after that brutal loss this past weekend. I thought Bayern was, I mean, I thought they were gonna like unload the guns. I mean, but hey, just we talked before about Newcastle, and I'd mentioned how I have complete different opinions about these 2 clubs who finished 4th in their groups. And Newcastle, I was impressed. It was a valiant effort. Man U, the complete opposite. What's the opposite of valiant? Disgraceful? Lackadaisical?
Plenty of adjectives.
You ought to give Leander a call. He'd have a good answer.
Yeah,
for you.
thesaurus. But I don't know what I don't know what Ten Hag. I mean, I when's he gonna get sacked? I mean, I'm just waiting at this point.
It's going to take a really bad one.
Which is funny, because in the Premier League, they're still doing decently.
Yeah, and we talked about this. They're 2 different teams. The Champions League team was like goals galore and couldn't defend anybody.
Yeah.
The Premier League team won every game, won and lost every game 1 or 2-0.
It's been a mess too in the Prem. I mean, they did give up 3 goals.
Harry Maguire was just named Player of the Month.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's now injured.
Yeah.
Ten Hag was Manager of the Month too.
and Garnacho had the goal of the month. They had all 3 awards.
Okay, that one made sense. That one made
That
sense.
one-
Garnacho's goal.
I'll
were
put
on
my
a
hand up
roll.
and say you're right.
That's goal of the season.
They were on a roll.
Roll is one way to
A
put it.
roll of mediocrity.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Graham Potter to take the reins.
Oh my god.
Have fun. It won't last long.
It's literally that would go just the same way as it did at Chelsea.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He is not the right man. Ten
Well,
Hag probably isn't either.
They'd enjoy a good start.
Well, I think Man U they need to they need to change some players. It's more than coaching.
I think it's more the players.
It's
than
much
the
bigger
coaching.
than that. Yeah,
It's
you're
much.
right.
It's more so on the players, and
Yeah.
ownership's a disaster there. The Glazers. So
They don't have a real board. That's the biggest problem. They don't
Yeah,
have like
so-
they
There's no
they lack a
leadership from
board.
so
the top
so
of
we,
the club, all the way down to the players.
point is we joke on Ten Hag a lot. I did just say that he's gonna get sacked soon, but it's much bigger than that in reality. And so there needs to be organizational change. There needs to be roster change. But I mean, I mean, it's like the Glazers have like a stronghold on this club, and like they don't want to let go. It seems, and so feel bad for the supporters right now. But I'm sure it's Man U. Eventually, they're going to go back up. They're gonna. I think eventually they'll become Man
more
U.
than 10 years since they won a title.
It's still a few years, but they're gonna find a way. They're still a top half Premier League club, even with all this dysfunction. They're gonna find a way, but disappointing Champions League. I think there needs to be a very, Bruno Fernandes. He needs to have some sort of players only meeting to discuss, and he needs to be a captain here and get everyone's act together.
He needs to drag them through the mud.
He needs to take control of this club.
He needs to be like Bobby Knight and throw a chair against the wall.
Whatever it takes. Kick Martial in the nuts. I don't know. Whatever it takes.
He's gone.
I don't know. We've been saying that for 9 years.
No, that was reported.
He's like the cat. He's like the cat. He's like the cat you can't kill. He's been there forever.
He still gets playing time.
No matter what, he's gonna be there in the end.
But no, Bruno needs he needs to become a captain and just find a way to ignite everyone's passion. There's no passion right now.
He won't be able to this weekend.
I'm not putting anything on. Liverpool needs to take care of their business on the weekend before. United's going to have.
If they somehow beat Liverpool on a scale of 1 to 10, how upset will you be?
15.
Yeah, good.
If Liverpool were to go top of the league and then lose to the worst version of United at home, you won't want to see me.
It's okay. Well, it's okay, Christian. It's okay because Brighton's going to beat Arsenal, so you'll be saved.
Okay. Jacob's not so sure.
I mean,
I'm 75% joking.
All right, again, this isn't like I'm like saying they couldn't be Luton Town. This is Arsenal we're talking about. This is like a great.
They play up to their competition. They're the Knicks. They play up. They play up to their competition.
No.
They play down to their competition as well, but it's okay. Yeah.
Don't bring up the Knicks. I don't want to go on a tangent.
Okay.
The rant is going to stay in this sport and after
that. Exactly.
Let's
order.
He can go on for a while about the Knicks' performance. But anything else on Group A before we get to everything else? No? All right, perfect. So let's move over to Group B. There was nothing in terms of the top.
Yeah.
Yes?
No. In terms of the top, you're absolutely right. I was going to say there was something to play for, but
yes,
you're on to that.
The two teams that were expected to go through after Matchday 5 were already locked in. That was Arsenal and PSV. So the only thing to really fight for was Europa League football, which is between Lens and Sevilla. And the French side were able to get the result they needed. Sevilla, who are fantastic in the Europa League, have no European football.
I was so happy.
They suck. Oh my god, what a
And Sergio
joke
Ramos
they are
scored.
too.
Sergio Ramos, I know. Our guy, Sergio Ramos.
Love
Yeah.
Sergio Ramos,
No,
But oh
the
my,
ultimate assassin.
yeah,
you
you're
don't
right.
know. You don't know how happy I was to watch this match and Lon score in the
It was
final
pretty
minutes.
entertaining.
It was a good
Well,
match,
yeah.
but I'm just happy Brighton doesn't have to play Sevilla in the Europa League. Sevilla,
Oh, I'll say the same about Liverpool. No thanks.
Sevilla in the Europa League is like the '90s Bulls. They're so dominant.
You're
And-
not wrong.
I was so glad that they didn't finish third because I knew that they would win the Europa League somehow.
But they don't have Unai Emery anymore.
They'd find a
Yeah.
way. It's
Doesn't
Sevilla.
matter. They won
It
it
doesn't
last
matter.
year, didn't they?
They won it last year. That's how they're in the Champions League this year. Because they were like last year, weren't they?
They were
I think
battling
they fin-
relegation in like
Yeah, they were like
Yeah.
they were a mid-table club in La
they are
Liga.
so bad in the league.
and they won the Europa League, so that's how they made the
Like, how does
Champions
that
League.
even make any sense?
It doesn't.
But yeah, no, good for Lons. That's all I gotta say. I'll
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
So F Sevilla. That's it. Fun match.
And I know Lons at the beginning of the campaign were having some trouble in the league. Now they're in 7th, so they've kind of, ridden the ship a bit. They're now back into a place where they could possibly get European football if they don't get it from, potentially winning a Europa League. I don't know if that's going to be possible for them, but I mean, again, they did a lot of good things down the stretch, so good for them. And for us that have clubs in Europa League, aka me and Andrew, we're glad to see Sevilla's got no European football. But let's shift over to Group C. Very similar situation. Real Madrid and Napoli were already through going into this match day. Or excuse me, actually, I take that back. Napoli was pretty much through, but all they had to do was win, draw, or lose by 1 goal at home against Braga. And Braga were just not good enough away from home. Napoli had one of their better performances in recent memory. They have not been good in the league, in Europe, but they get it done. They get to 10 points. And Real Madrid also got a win away from home, which is always a good thing, right?
Undefeated.
Joselu finally did something.
How about that? I was thinking of Ricardo because I think Ricardo is the biggest Joselu hater on earth, and I'm not blaming you because I totally agree. I hate Joselu.
Joselu screams Chelsea.
You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
so striker that
You're
can't
not
score.
wrong.
Exactly,
You're not wrong.
absolutely.
That's exactly why I said he screams Chelsea, because he can't score. He doesn't score.
But this is why I love Madrid. And this is why they're so much better than those frauds, FC Barcelona. Pointless Champions League matches against Union Berlin, and they still find a way to win.
Exactly.
What's
Thank
the name
you.
of the other team? Wait, hold on. What's the name of the other team that they played?
The correct pronunciation, Union Berlin. That's the correct pronunciation. I mean, what do you want me to say? Union Berlin?
No,
I'm not English here. I respect cultures.
We're not German either.
I'm literally.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
I'm a quarter German.
Forgive me. I haven't checked your
My
ancestry.com
grandmother.
in a
My
while.
grandmother is a German immigrant. Jacob, come on.
I'm sorry. I didn't
She's a
know.
great woman.
I'm sure she is.
Union Berlin.
Can I just say, Union Berlin has lost like 3 heartbreakers in like the last 10
True.
minutes. Like, I kind of feel bad for them, but it was a brutal run for them. But I'm not really that sure.
They'll be fine. They're used to breaking down walls.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
okay, Reagan.
I'm sorry. I had to find a way to get that in there. So.
Oh,
Every time about Berlin, I go, how could I forget?
Somebody clip that.
Oh, that'll be clipped. Don't
Christian's
worry.
got it.
Oh, that was,
Christian's silent. I'll take care of it.
That's TikTok material.
that was
Union
great.
Berlin.
Tear it down.
Anything else to add on this?
I was
Because
going to say, do we need to give the historical context to that, or I hope people.
No, you don't. I don't think you need
No.
historical context. I think we're past that point, and I think people know the Berlin Wall.
But okay, let's
If not, I'm sorry.
Run.
If not, go on Wikipedia.
Okay,
Make a little, quick Google search.
Now here,
Google machine's there for a reason.
pause the video. Go to Wikipedia and come
little
back.
history lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, look up "Tear Down This Wall" on YouTube. Look it up.
Yeah, it's a great song.
No.
All right.
All right, let's move on to Group D,
Oh,
where two teams had already qualified. It's going to be a very similar story throughout the rest of this. Real Sociedad and Inter were fighting for first, but we're both through. And the other game was the more entertaining of the two. Benfica needed a win by multiple goals to get Europa League football, and somehow they did it away from home.
Yeah.
Angel Di Maria had a fantastic performance. I'd like to say that.
Vintage.
I mean, just continues to find ways to be impactful, even when his age is certainly there. But yeah, Real Sociedad, one of the big surprises. I know Andrew mentioned a club before. Who was it again? It was Dortmund.
Dortmund, yeah. But Sociedad definitely is
another big surprise here. Not known as one of the big teams, especially in Europe. I mean, they haven't been in this competition in a long time, but to finish top of the group with the team that got all the way to the final last year is pretty impressive.
Yeah. I know I stressed this before a couple weeks ago. I'm going to change my opinion. I was saying Benfica was the most disappointing team for me in Champions League. After this episode, that title's gone to Man U. But I mean, Benfica. I don't want to face them in Europa League. That's a team I don't want to face in Europa League. I'm glad Sevilla is out. I don't want to face Benfica. But Sociedad, 4 Spanish teams qualified to the round of 16. Well, we'll get to Atletico in a little bit. But I mean, that's good for La Liga. And I mean, Sociedad, they're just gritty. They're just, I mean, that's all they are. It's just grit personified. And like, they're the most. We like to make our American sports analogies.
Oh no.
No.
They're like the '85 Chicago Bears.
So they're gonna win the whole thing.
Basketball analogies to now football.
Oh yeah.
What do they have, a brick wall back there in the back floor?
Yes, actually.
Kind of are.
What is it, Ferdinand and Vidic? Did I miss
It's all
something?
grit. It's all grit. Nothing flashy.
What is it, Puyol and
That's
PK
true.
in what, 09? Did I miss something?
It's nothing flashy, but they find a way to win or draw. And
Yeah.
So no, I mean, out of all the other teams that qualified, Spanish teams that qualified, I hate Real Sociedad the least. So good for them. I mean, they deserve something like this. Sure. So good for them. And Inter, Inter. Jacob,
I'm not backing down.
You're not backing down.
I don't have any worries about them.
Yeah,
This is what they do. They're also very gritty, and it's not going to be pretty. That was a rhyme, but
Bar.
Bars.
Yeah. It's not planned. Yes, they don't play like a pretty style of soccer, but I this is what they do. Though they're gonna grind games out. They're going to find ways to win. They're kind of like the Atletico of Italy, in my opinion.
Oh God.
I mean, am I wrong?
No.
Stylistically, yeah, that's a fair comparison.
But
Yeah.
I still think they're a serious threat to win the whole thing. I stand by that. They have most of their squad, I think, from last year, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, the goalkeeper's different, but I mean, would they really want that goalkeeper right now? With the form he's in, Onana, that is. But I'm not worried about Inter. I mean, I think they were a bit shaky throughout the group stage, but they did enough to get through, and that's really the most important thing. And yeah, I still think they're a serious threat to win the whole thing.
Nah.
Alrighty then.
Well, it's going to be interesting now because since your second degree in pot,
The real good team of
I'm
Milan.
glad you mentioned that because whoever gets them, good luck.
That's going to be the most. That's going to be the most entertaining round of 16 matchup, I think. Right off the bat, just from, whoever draws Inter and whoever draws Leipzig, very interesting matches there. But
watch it be Real Madrid. Just watch.
And PSG.
Please don't be Inter Real Madrid.
Forgot their pot too.
PSG is going to be a nightmare spot to be in for
but
whoever.
Inter's the most dangerous out of all of those in pot two.
I think I'd go. Yeah, I would agree. I say Inter, PSG, and then PSG. Leipzig.
Yep.
But Inter. You do not want to face Inter in the round of 16. Again, they're top of Serie A. They've been one of the best defensive teams in Europe. They got a strike partnership of Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram, who's been really good after coming in on a free. They replaced Edin Dzeko and Romelu Lukaku as well as you possibly could have. So, Jacob's take of them getting back to a final is certainly possible. I don't think that's something that to be worried about just because they finished second in the group. But we'll see how that unfolds. The draw comes out next week, so we will certainly discuss that. But let's talk about another Spanish side. Atletico Madrid wins their group with 14 points from 6 games. Lazio in second. And then Feyenoord gets Europa League football despite losing to Celtic in Matchday 6. Not a game that they had anything to play for, but good for Celtic to get a win in Europe.
I'll go first. I think Atletico have been a really sneaky good team in the group stages. I think they've played really well. I think that they've had convincing wins where I think they were in real good control of the game. And they're actually, it seems like it's still grit and grindy because that's what they are under Simeone, but it seems like there's more of an emphasis on attacking and scoring goals, and they're doing that. And I think it makes them even more dangerous of a team for other opponents to play. And I think the fact that they have sort of had this new element to their team, they've added this sort of will to score goals. I think that that makes them a very serious kind of sleeper that I don't think a lot of people are talking about yet. But I think that I could easily see them upsetting some team, even if it wouldn't even seem like that much of an upset because of the caliber of the team that they have. But I think that they're a threat to make a run. I really do. There's something about them that they're kind of flying under the radar. No one's talking about them. They'll use it as a chip on their shoulder to win games. I could just see Simeone using that as like a sort of a motivational tactic. And I think that they are a force to be reckoned with. And obviously, I'm happy Lazio got out because I think I predicted Atletico and Lazio. I feel like I did because of my guy Maurizio Sarri.
What about Pedro?
Him too. Legendary player. Very happy about Pedro, Ciro Immobile, Luis Alberto. A lot of guys that have been around for a while. But I think I don't feel great about them because I don't feel great about them at the back. The goalkeeper and the back line I don't feel that great about, but I also think that they could upset a team. I do think that they could do that personally. And we'll see what happens. But Atletico, again, I'll say it again. I think that they have a legitimate chance to go on a run and upset some teams that people may think that they don't have a shot at beating.
Depending on who they draw in the round of 16, I think Atletico will make the quarterfinal. I'll just say that right now. I think they will. Yeah. Quarterfinal though, I don't think they make it past the quarterfinal. I don't think they have the total. Their attacking, their attacking has gotten a lot better, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Jacob. Especially in the Champions League. I mean, they beat Celtic 6-0, right? I mean,
they've had some big scoring.
There's some big scoring. So, and Griezmann's been in good form. Morata scoring. It's I laugh when I say Morata scoring. Guess how he's scoring too.
Headers.
but
Best in the world.
but
At
I
that,
don't know.
At headers.
I mean,
Don't
but-
worry. I didn't mean that in all aspects. Don't worry,
but
everybody.
I think they will make the quarters. I'll just say that. Atletico, I think they definitely have the quality to make the quarters. I don't know past that. But we'll see who they draw. But Ricardo, I think you got something to say.
Yeah, I hate admitting that, but yeah, I feel like they can get through, like even past the quarterfinal. I just they've definitely gotten way better. They've been better this season than last. So I mean, you guys have already said it. Attacking wise, they've gotten way better. Defensively, they're still, I mean, very very tough to break down and get through. So I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they got through to the quarter, at least past the quarterfinal, maybe even semis. Like, I mean, I think they just have. I mean, the form the players are in. I mean, they could do it. I hate it though. I hate the thought of it, but we'll see.
They're a respectable side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I they're not Fugazi. So
One thing I do want to mention from this game, and it's been talked about a little bit in the media over the last couple of days, is Antoine Griezmann, who's quickly approaching being Atletico Madrid's top scorer of all time. I think we're going to look at him, 20 years from now as, one of these more underrated players of this generation.
Definitely.
I mean, he had a period at Barca, didn't go well. He's been excellent for France.
I think he's one of the great.
Yeah.
I think when it's tough because it seems like it's almost been their golden generation. I feel like it's been going on for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
But I think that it's funny. Him and Giroud, you could make the argument, have been probably two of the 5 best players for France in the last 25 years. Their partnership together is something that I think really helped. I mean, Giroud made such a big impact in 18, scoring no goals, and still was impactful. But I think Griezmann, is he the captain of France?
I think it's Mbappe.
I think it should be Griezmann, but I feel like Griezmann's more of a leader than Mbappe personally, and I think that he really has rallied the troops last. I mean, Mbappe carried the team, but I think Griezmann's more of a leader, and I think the fact that Griezmann has been willing to make sacrifices as far as I don't think caring as much about the accolades that he used to. I think he sort of when his Barcelona spell didn't work, he sort of had an epiphany. You know what? Being Atletico was fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm at a big club. Everybody loves me here. I play my best year. Why would I want to leave?
Yeah. Atletico was still winning at that point. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was taking a massive downgrade coming back to Atletico. I'm thinking about the statement you made about the top 5. I mean, you got to include, you're thinking Zidane, Henry.
No, obviously.
I'd put him top 10.
Top 10.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
I
top
jumped
10
again.
I would go with.
I jumped again. I apologize.
The point stands, though. I mean,
yeah, no,
Giroud,
absolutely.
I mean, doesn't Giroud have more goals than Henry?
Giroud is up
In
there.
France?
No, I'm not doubting that, but I'm just
not.
talking.
And again, I am not claiming Giroud. I'm not delirious. Give me a break. I mean,
I thought he was. I thought Giroud was the leading scorer for France.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Ricardo.
I'll quickly look as you guys continue.
Yeah, no, but top 10 I'll vibe with.
Top
10. I think that makes more sense.
I'll agree.
He does lead the entire national team. 50.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
Wikipedia's just 56 goals. But again, I mean, this guy's longevity has been something that we've talked about. He is so good even when he's not scoring. He's done it for Milan. He's been doing it for France. I mean, this guy remains because France has good striker options at the moment. And yet he remains. And I don't think you can question it. And again, Griezmann, I think will go down as one of the more underrated players. Maybe he'll get more respect than I'm saying at the moment. But I mean, this guy's fantastic as a second striker, playing as a 10 underneath Giroud for the national team.
Yeah.
And again, as you guys have mentioned, if they want to go on a run, he needs to be as impactful as he's been in the group stage because he's the engine of this. Their midfield's great. They have Rodrigo De Paul. You have Saul, who's came back to the club, Koke. I mean, they have so many different options in that area. And again, they don't have big names in the defense, but Diego Simeone's style, suits defenders regardless of, their name brand. It doesn't need to be, the flashiest players, as Jacob mentioned. They're super gritty, super defensive. They'll beat you on the counterattack. If the draw, gives them a PSG or, a Leipzig, who's to say they can't beat them? If these teams don't bury their chances, Madrid will punish them. We've seen that from this team because last year wasn't the same. But this one, to their credit, has been very, very good in both competitions. So we will see who they match up with next week. But let's move on.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
There's been a lot of smoke with Griezmann moving to like MLS. I'm like, why is that even a thought?
Yeah.
Why is that even
eventually?
He's only 32.
Eventually.
Yeah.
He's only 32. I don't know why
I think
people
he's
are
got
saying
at least 3 more years of
I agree.
top form.
I agree. So
Because I feel like when was the last time? I mean, has he had any major injuries? Or I'm trying to remember. I don't remember.
I don't remember anything like
durable
he was out
most of his
for
career.
months upon months. I mean, I'm sure
he's
there's been a
pretty
couple.
durable for most of his career.
I feel like there was 1 year he was out for a few months, but it wasn't recent.
Yeah,
so
and it was nothing like
it wasn't like an ACL tear or something like that. But
but point is, Griezmann should absolutely continue.
Not yet. He doesn't need to go to the MLS yet.
4 years. But Group G.
Yes, Group G, topped by Manchester City, who played a lot of their kids at Red Star, and a pretty cool story came out of that game. Micah Hamilton, a 20-year-old for them, who was the ball boy. There's been a video that's been talked about over the last couple of days where Pep was trying to tell him to, pick up the pace. And, to his credit, he scored a wonderful goal in this game. First appearance for the first team. Really, really cool stuff. And Leipzig goes through as this team in second place with 12 points. They had some good performances in the group stage. Obviously, tough to compete with a team like Manchester City. But again, they find a way into the round of 16, and they're going to be a real dangerous threat against one of the teams in pot 1. And then Young Boys, the Swiss side, get Europa League football.
Surprised Xavi Simons didn't score in this game, honestly. I feel like he scores in like every game, but Leipzig's definitely no joke. So certainly a team I don't want Real facing early on, but they have faced him in the past, but it's just something about this team. But it's just like, even if with all the prestige with Real Madrid, it's never going to be easy. They're always going to give you a good fight. So, I mean, second was kind of where I feel like we all saw them finishing because it's City. So
not a very strong group after City. So
yeah, exactly.
It seemed like they were in a good spot from the standpoint of like, all right, they can get the second.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And Calvin Phillips back from dead.
Yes, good to
mention
mention
the whole game. Scored a penalty. I'm sure that must have felt really good. Or
not, because he's probably still gone anyway.
The thing is that everyone talks about like how he's been treated. I mean, the problem is he plays Rodri's position, right?
But he doesn't even play when Rodri's out.
That's the problem.
That's the concern.
And
it's not like Kovacic and Mateus Nunes and all their other options are not natural Rodri replacements. And then it's even crazier. And before you continue, they play Rico Lewis and John Stones as inverted sixes over a natural six.
It's
an English setup too.
Yeah, just not his style. I guess he doesn't really fit the system. So, yeah, it's tough, but
I mean, he'll be. I don't think his career's over. So he's still
No.
pretty young.
No.
I think if he lands on his feet, he'll be fine.
He
Yeah.
just needs to get out.
Yeah, he needs to go.
Yeah. Maybe the Roma. But I think Ricardo said it best. This group was pretty self-explanatory. You knew where everyone was going to be pretty much. But I mean, all I got to say is Emil Forsberg to the New York Red Bulls. I mean, I really, there's nothing to say about this group.
No.
Really, it's what you thought. Now, if I had to criticize little Micah, they talked about this on the CBS broadcast. That dive, horrendous.
Jamie Carragher was very, very critical of it.
Horrendous.
I didn't.
A young player, and Jamie was absolutely right. A young player should not have this in their repertoire. He should not get used to this.
Yeah.
He's going to start getting those yellows racked up if he keeps doing that. So please don't do that, Micah. Please don't. He's clearly very talented, but don't dive like that.
He's got Pep. I'll be fine.
I don't know.
I mean,
Although I'll be honest, that when they because I was watching like I forgot what highlights I was watching, but who made them, but they showed the video of Pep talking to Mike as a ball boy, and I thought that was from the game. I was like, why is this 12-year-old about to come on? But no, they cut to him now. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But it just shows. I mean, wow. Yeah. My God, the youth quality on Man City. They're gonna be great forever. It seems. Infinite quality. But yeah, nothing to say. Nothing to say.
Yeah, super straightforward. Manchester City, pot one, like many of us expected. And again, they had to come back in a couple of these matches. The one in Matchday 5 against Leipzig, they were down at home. They came back to win. So, as impressive as they've been in the Champions League, they've had a little bit of a dip in the league, but, it's not been showcased in Europe. So that's for all of those groups. On Monday morning, we will get the official round of 16 matchups. So we will discuss that next week. But before we go, our favorite segment of the day, Jacob's rant of the week. Jacob, the floor is all yours.
Clear as throat.
Not only did Chelsea lose once in 1 week. No. Because that wasn't enough. They had to lose twice in 1 freaking week. They let Man U, who stinks, freaking play their best game of the year. They had the ball so much, they probably thought that, wait a minute, what is this, practice? I mean, they had the ball so much. And again, as much as they dominated the ball, Chelsea in the second half, they couldn't even freaking get past the halfway point. That's how pathetic it was against Man U. This isn't the treble Man U of 99 or the team that won in 07-08 or the one that was in against Barcelona in 09 or whatever the hell it was. This isn't that team. This is Man U now, who stinks, who have nothing, who have been terrible. They even got Bruno to miss a friggin' penalty. And it didn't matter. It doesn't matter if the ball is right there for Nicholas Jackson. He won't friggin' score. He can't score if there's a goalie there. He has to, he can't friggin' figure it out. And I'm mad because I'm forgetting. I know there's multiple things that I can't remember that it's driving me nuts because I can't figure it out.
Well, Jacob, I was gonna say, you're telling me this wasn't a Hanukkah gift for your father? Noted Man U fan.
Pre-Hanukkah.
Oh, that's right. This was Wednesday, right? Yeah, you're right. You're right. Good call. Still, I mean, it could be an early Hanukkah gift.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was happy. I actually think he was just screaming at Garnacho for losing the ball every 3 seconds. That's what he was doing. But
At least he had goal of the month.
yeah, no. But again, that match they were lifeless. They were freaking pathetic. I mean, they scored 1 goal, and it was like they only lost 2-1. They should have lost freaking 5-1. They were awful. And again, I understand Raheem Sterling is a bright spot and he's good. How many freaking times can this guy dive? I mean, what is he trying to be on the Olympic swimming team? I mean, this is a joke. Every 3 seconds, he's going to the damn ground. I'm tired of it. Christopher Nkuku, I don't care what it takes. I don't care if you're 50%. Get on the field, please. Because there's no way that your 50% isn't better than Nicholas Jackson's 100%. There's just no way. And then they have to bring on Armando Broya, who all he does is either get hurt or also it's like he only got hurt. The Man U game, or I don't know, one of the game he had like a bloody nose and he came on as a sub. And he didn't even done anything. And he's already freaking bleeding. The guy can't. Oh my god. And then all I have to hear about is how wonderful Cole Palmer is every time he scores a goal. And yes, he's fine. But he's not going to save the day. And again, how many times, and this midfield, this 200 million pound midfield who stink, who don't do anything, they don't impact the game. And I understand that you can impact the game without scoring goals or assists. Yes, I am aware of that. But can you give me something? Can you stop someone when they're coming your way? Moises Caicedo. Can you deliver one good pass? Enzo Fernandez, just one the whole friggin' year? Can you control the game? Can you prove to me that you're better than Jorginho, which I still don't think he is? 100 million more. You know what, Chelsea? This needs to be the plan. When you want to buy a player and the other team it wants to keep raising the bid, you know what you do? No. That's what you say. You say, you know what? No, thank you. Don't do it anymore. It won't probably be worth it. I don't care how highly you view them. Don't cave. You make them cave, not the other way around. And again, this team has with the exception of Thiago Silva, has no veteran leadership. A bunch of freaking kids running around. They don't know what they're doing. Would it kill you to sign a player, I don't know, 30? Would it kill you? Please. And if you're going to spend money in January, spend it wisely. Please. I can't friggin' take it anymore. And then I have to watch them play Everton, who all of a sudden are reborn. And then I have to watch how do you say his name? Abdi? How do you say it? Decore? How do you say his first name? No, but how do you say his first name?
Abdullah.
All right, we're going to keep it at Decore.
Abdullah, I think.
Abdullah, whatever the hell his name is, Decore, score goals. You know who he's better than? You know how much Decore cost? I think less than 50 million.
Yeah, he's right around your age profile, 30 years old.
Yeah, why can't Chelsea sign guys like that? I mean, Scott McTominay is better than Conor Gallagher and Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. Scott freaking McTominay. Are you kidding me? Abdi Decore is better than Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. I bet you Everton's whole freaking 11 could possibly cost less than Chelsea's 2 midfielders.
Honestly, you might be right.
I mean, let that sink in for a minute. They got embarrassed by Everton. And yes, it's a tough place to play. I've heard all the stupid excuses. What is this, the gates of hell? Give me a break.
Hey, but you got to see your new keeper.
Yeah. And what happened? The one shot he faced, goal. And was it his fault? Probably not. Am I being unfair? Probably. But that's not the point. And again, Robert Sanchez, every damn time this guy has the ball at his feet, I want to press the imaginary big red button. That's all I want to do. If there was a big red button, red alert, emergency, don't press this unless there's an emergency, that's what I want to do when Robert Sanchez has the ball. Because he gives it away every friggin' time. This guy makes De Gea look like a freaking maestro with the ball at his feet. I mean, how the hell did they think that Robert Sanchez wasn't good enough to play at Brighton, is good enough to play at Chelsea?
Andrew, great question.
I mean, Jason Steele is better, but
again, if you want to be a big flight Premier League team, you have to have a really good goalkeeper. Is he better than Onana? No. Is he better than Ederson? No. Is he better than Raya or Ramsdale? No. Is he better than Pope? No. Did I say Allison?
Nope.
No, he's not better than him either. Is he better than? I don't even think he's better than freaking Bernardo.
He definitely isn't.
Well, there you go. He's not even better than him. I mean, this is a joke. How could one? I don't understand how a team could spend money so poorly. If you spend £1 billion, you should have the best team in the league.
Jacob, it's okay. You're paying off Tony Bloom's gambling debt. It's okay.
Yeah, and then they're gonna sign Ivan Toney, who is gonna stink. Because he's gonna be worried about freaking I don't know, paying off gambling debts. I mean,
Jacob, Everton, they're just an angry side right now. They're just an angry side.
You know what? My team.
He wants Chelsea.
My team.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Where's the heart?
Where's that
the
exactly?
Passion. And again, Pochettino. I'm starting to get annoyed.
Oh,
you're not the only one.
I was just gonna ask.
I mean, can you get a little more out of this team than Frank Lampard, please? But I don't blame him for telling the board, this team sucks. Please get me new players. He didn't say that, everybody, but he basically said that without saying that. Please, just get. But can we spend money once, please? Stop signing play. Here's an idea: stop signing players who aren't fit to be on the team. Stop signing players that should be on loan. Sign players who can contribute now, not next year, not the year after, not the year after that, not in 5 years. Right now. No more development projects. Enough. No more science class projects. I have had enough. I can't take it anymore. And this is the worst part. You see what their next 4 games are?
This weekend's a must-win.
But let me read you these next 4 games, and I mean this in a way where I think that I should be happy, and I'm just gonna keep it to the Premier League because they have Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. But beside that, they have Sheffield, Wolves, Crystal Palace, and Luton. Minimum 2 wins. I'm being nice. 2 wins out of those 4. You better get me at least. Let's see, they could get. So let's see, that's 4 matches. Maximum plan points they get is 12.
8.
Yeah, I only want 1 loss out of that.
So 7.
Yeah, just win the damn games. You got through the gauntlet that I talked about forever. Now it's time to win, and it starts on. And this is the thing about Chelsea that I hate. The game against Everton, they go down 1-0. As soon as they're down 1-0, I know the game's over. It's over. Because they can't come back. They can't. Scoring 1 goal is hard enough. 2? I mean, forget about it. 2 goals. Oh my God.
Jacob, I got a whole list. I got a whole list of central defensive midfielders for you to sign.
Can you give me a list of attacking midfielders?
No, that doesn't exist for Chelsea.
Oh.
It doesn't exist.
And as much as I don't like Conor Gallagher, don't sell him to Spurs. Don't not
Do you
there.
like the Spurs?
No. There was rumors that they would sell him to Spurs. Do not sell him to Spurs. Do not let that.
I'm sure Ange would be able to figure it out.
Big Ange figure it out. I don't want to see the Big Ange press conference. You know, I like Conor Gallagher. I think he played good for us. I think he can start right away, and we'll see what happens. I don't want that. Okay, don't let me see that.
I think this can fix him up.
I'm sure a lot of people could fix him up, but Poch, we should have known. Don't hire a Spurs manager because he's gonna bring that fraud Spurs mentality of never winning anything.
Oh,
he
man.
couldn't even beat Chelsea in 16 when they had nothing to play for. Had a 2-0 lead at halftime and blew it.
That's how you go back.
Against a Gus Hidnick team, for crying out loud. Joke. I mean, it is an unmitigated disaster, and I am. I forgot this. Guess who got hurt again?
Reece James.
Oh, no,
Yep, 7 hamstring injuries in the last 3 years.
7.
7. I wish it was a hip. He could just get it freaking replaced. But unfortunately, we're not there yet in modern medicine. How that?
It's cooked meat.
And again, this guy's the captain. What a great idea. Let's make the guy the captain who's never on the field. And the other captain, he's also never on the field. And who's the third pick? Conor Gallagher. That guy has to represent my team. What an effing joke. It is insane how far this team has fallen in, I guess, 2 years. I mean,
Champions League, yeah.
Todd Bowley and his corners took a freaking the bat with the spikes on it, and that's what they did to this team. That's what they did. They freaking destroyed it. And and forgive me for rambling, but I can't take it. I cannot. I mean, this team, watching them every week, it sucks the soul out of me, for crying out loud. I mean, I mean, Mudryk, Jackson, Sterling, Gallagher. I mean, every week it's almost the same 11, and every week it's more uninspiring.
I mean, there was a stretch where it became more inspired, last month, but.
Yeah, but you know what? We had to have an international break because every time Chelsea figured out.
Oh, wait. Hold on. You said that because of the international break, because Raheem Sterling wasn't selected, he was playing better.
No, but my point is. That,
wait.
No. My point is that every
Right,
time they get hot, there's a damn international break. Every time.
Gotcha.
I feel like Frank the Tank with Scott Van Pelt.
Frank's an Arsenal fan.
That's ironic. But anyway, I'm so tired of it. I want to win, man. I miss the days where my team used to win. I used to be proud of them. I used to love them. Now I loathe them. They disgust me week in and week out. How the hell did this team beat Brighton? How the hell did they tie Man City?
It's our B team, but
they tied Man City. They tie Liverpool. They tie Arsenal, but they can't beat Everton.
Nottingham Forest.
Yeah. Who have been
that was one
full ever since then. They somehow beat Fulham, who are red hot right now. I mean,
Jimenez.
It's just
who, by the way, is a striker who's scoring goals right now. But but we won't talk about that.
Half ahead, and he's still smarter than Nicholas Jackson. I mean, this
Jacob's on the
team,
hot right now.
I am convinced of this. This team is going to have more yellow cards than goals by the end of the year. And it's not even going to be close, boys. It's going to be by a mile.
All right, I'll get on the phone with Anthony Taylor. Make it happen.
It's probably going to be him reffing the game this weekend. Watch.
It might already be announced.
Check that. Why don't we check
It's
that
not
later?
him. It's Andrew Madley.
I don't even know who that is, so that's a good
Oh,
sign.
maybe that's a good thing then.
I don't know who it is. That's a great sign. When you don't know the ref, I have to get excited about who the freaking ref is. And one thing about Jordy Petrovic, because let's go to the MLS to sign a goalkeeper. What a brilliant idea!
I mean,
that was.
to be fair,
What do you tell me, Matt Turner?
there's MLS goalkeepers like around the world.
And you know why he gave up that goal in that Everton game? You know why?
I don't.
Because that was the first effing time that he had been playing so far. Because for some reason we can't play him against frickin' Blackburn in the Carabao Cup.
Oh, but I thought you said I thought
the
what
Cup's are a
was
big
this?
deal. You got to play your number
Yeah.
one.
You were like, oh, that's you're gloating about that when you beat Brighton. You were like, oh, you have to.
Robert Sanchez and Jordy Petrovic is like Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor. There's not much of a drop off, folks.
Would you start Petrovic?
I want to see him play.
So yes.
I mean, I would unmind it. I don't think it's that big of a stand I'm taking here. I mean, it's not like Robert Sanchez is some decorated goalkeeper that we have to bench. I mean, the guy is a scrub. He's not good. This team is full of scrubs. Full of them. But in the words of TLC, I don't want no scrubs. I mean, that's gonna be corny, but I don't want any more. I want winners. In the words of Mike Singletary, I want winners.
It's kind of tough.
I went from TLC to Mike Singletary. What a transition.
I mean, this episode had the comparison of Real Sociedad of the 85 Bears. So really, I mean,
and then
anything happens.
Union Berlin with the Berlin Wall.
Yeah. Sevilla Europa League is like the 90s Bulls. I mean, we have plenty of these today.
Yeah, we have plenty.
We're on a roll, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I think I'm done.
I'll give one stat to that'll bother Jacob a bit. Chelsea are 10 points away from the relegation zone. They are 14 points away from the Champions League spots. And as you can see, for those watching on YouTube, Jacob's not happy camper at the moment.
Wait until the point deduction happens.
Oh,
no. Another thing about that, they punished us enough.
No, I don't think they did.
No,
Hey,
you don't know why they punished
deduction,
us? Because we don't have our owner anymore. That's enough of a punishment. We lost our good, smart owner, and we have these freaking morons running the team now. That's a punishment that will haunt us more than any point deduction will. So you know what, FA or or whoever is in charge of this, pipe down. Don't beat a dead dog while it's lying down. You know what I'm saying?
To the championship you go. You still get Anthony Taylor.
Beat Sheffield. Beat them. I think they will.
That's the game plan. Beat Sheffield.
Beat Sheffield.
Brick by brick. Got to start somewhere. I've had it. I am sick and tired.
I can't wait for your therapy next week.
And I'm going to say this now. I don't care if they win 7-0, which they won't. I am not going to get sucked back in.
We'll see about that.
And you know what's going to suck? They're going to win. They'll win 4 in a row. And then I am going to get sucked back in. And then whenever the next game is, they're going to get freaking destroyed just like that.
So you just admitted that you will get sucked back in after saying that you aren't going to get sucked back in.
Yeah.
So,
oh, great. They have Liverpool January 31st. Wonderful.
Oh, is
That
that the
is-
next match you're circling? Like you hyped up Brighton on December 2nd? Oh, that's
No,
not very
no.
good. Hype
think
up
I'm excited
Actually,
to
I don't
play-
want to hype it up because the last time you hyped up a match as much as they did, they won.
What? When?
Brighton.
Brighton.
I
Brighton
mean,
B
it
team.
wasn't a pleasing performance, but it was a
I was
win.
right though. I was right that they were gonna win.
Yeah, but De Zerbi was like, he was giving his guys a break after Europa League.
Oh, great! At one point in February, they have City and then Spurs back to back. Wonderful.
We'll worry about that in February.
By then, you'll probably be in the relegation zone, so it's okay.
Oh, great! You know what's gonna be great? Watch April, Man United, Sheffield, who will probably beat them that time around, and then they get to play Everton, who they'll lose to again, and then they'll play frickin' Brighton, who they'll lose to because maybe De Zerbi will actually care about the game, and then they'll lose to frickin' Aston Villa.
Villa. We didn't get time to talk about. I'm sure next week we'll talk about Villa, but what a week that was for them.
Amen.
Beating
Oh yeah.
City and Arsenal. I mean, you're not gonna have a better week than that.
No. But yeah, I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to touch on quickly before we go? No.
I don't think so.
It's late for us. Andrew's got a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I got to catch a flight.
Yeah, I think that's all we got for today. Next week we'll be doing. We might have 2 episodes. I don't know. We haven't discussed it yet, but we'd like to recap the round of 16 draw. We have a new episode coming out. A new thing. We're going to talk about our most impressive players from each Premier League side. Really cool. Really excited about that one. So that's what you'll see next week. But please subscribe. Let us know in the comments if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in the future. But as always, have a good night and see you later.
Oh, yeah, there we go. That's staying in. Oh, that's staying in too. Look at Jacob. Oh, play some Katy Perry after that.